Good evening. I'm sorry that I couldn't be there with you all tonight, and although it may look like I'm delivering the news, I'm actually joining you from my classroom at Lakeland. So I would like to start by thanking Loyola so much for this special recognition. Over the last 2 years, I've hosted interns in my classroom, and during that time have developed a great respect for the mission of Loyola School of Education and your commitment to preparing teachers to be great urban educators. I would also like to thank my colleagues at Lakeland, where I'm thankful to work in a community of teachers who are changing lives every day. I would like to specifically thank our resident principal, Caitlin Brooks, and my literacy colleague, Marissa Sullivan, as both of their energy and visions have motivated me daily this school year. 6 years ago, as a first-year teacher in West Baltimore, I showed up from Western Kentucky University full of confidence, having completed my own internships with flying colors, but quickly realized that I was struggling to even give spelling tests with this Southern twang. Somewhere out there are probably a few students in Baltimore City spelling CVC words with many vowels. So receiving a literacy award is truly an honor with that phonics disaster in my background. In all seriousness, I quickly learned that the challenges ahead of me and my students were going to become far deeper than a miscommunication of the long A sound. So I decided to dig in and start the long process that is teaching, of building relationships, trying new strategies, and endless reflection and modification. I'm a motto person. Words and phrases stick with me easily. My colleagues at Lakeland would likely roll their eyes if they heard me rattling off some of my mottos in this speech, but here I go nonetheless. I often say to stressed out colleagues that the key to good teaching is to be like a duck, cool, calm, and collected on top, but swimming like crazy underneath. This year, in addition to emulating the duck, my personal motto has been, are you going to be the person who comes to work? Or are you going to be the person who does the work? In addition to be a third grade reading teacher, I have the privilege to serve as a district mentor to 2 early career teachers who happen to be Loyola graduates, which has made my job as a mentor a little easier. This year, at the Baltimore City Mentor Academy, I learned a statistic that has been another one of those words or phrases that's really stuck with me. Students living in poverty who are not proficient readers by the end of 3rd grade are 13 times more likely not to graduate high school on time. Hearing this created a sense of urgency for me, which I needed because, to be honest, in August, I was feeling pretty comfortable with where I was as a teacher. Data from last year was solid. My students and I worked hard to exceed state and district averages on PARCC. I was feeling pleased. But as all good educators know, when you start feeling too comfortable, you're doing something very wrong. Which led me to my motto for this year of being the person who shows up and does the work every day. Because as that statistic tells me, lives depend on it. Every average day matters in the lives of the little human sitting in front of me to get one step closer to that high school diploma. Mastery of our daily literacy objective matters for my students to move one step closer to the dreams that their parents have for them. RL 3.4 and RI 3.9 are more than just standards written on my lesson plan. They're the foundations I'm trying to lay to guide my students to think critically about text and make connections to the world around them. At Lakeland, many of our families have already sacrificed so much to be here in the United States, and knowing them and hearing their stories has deepened that urgency I feel when I stand in front of the classroom teaching about character traits or text features. One of those stories comes from my student who's unfortunately repeating 3rd grade and is still reading below grade level. Last year, his mother spoke to us from her cell phone while on public transit, determined to be present in our meeting regarding his progress between her 2 jobs. One of the standard questions that we asked during that meeting is about the student's history. Following that question, our team learned that this student's journey to the United States has been a particularly difficult one, and he had recently shared with her that he just didn't feel like he could think the same way that he used to. Before the translator could finish the details of his journey, most of us in the room had gathered what she said, and many eyes had widened and filled with tears. It was the kind of quiet that falls over a room so intensely that you feel it. We ended the call by assuring her that we were going to keep working with her son every day and thanking her for sharing that difficult information as it would help us help him. Although we didn't really speak much more as the meeting ended, I'm certain that all of us walked out of that meeting knowing that the race had just been marked out before us, and that the level of perseverance required for this task of helping him had been there all along, inside of that eager, brown-eyed 3rd grade boy. Now it was our job to match the perseverance that he had already demonstrated. After countless hours of professional development and reading about strategies and best practices, I wish I could stand here and tell you that I think the key to effective literacy instruction is found in a specific piece of research or strategy. However, it was found in that meeting, and it's found in that statistic that I heard over the summer. The key is to know the value of each day and know the value of each student, and to show up and be the person who does the work, despite the classroom temperature or the desperate budgets plagued by discrimination. And also to be like the duck when the waters get a little choppy. Thank you again for this honor, and I look forward to meeting all of you someday soon.